Cool. So this topic is going to be CVI and how to implement into your life and how to implement into your business. I will tell you, forewarning, some of the slides that I'm going to be showing you is going to have a lot of words on it. So you might want to be ready to take photos of them, so that way you don't have to necessarily scribble everything down. We're going to be condensing a topic. I went through a 6.5-hour boot camp back, I don't know, maybe 2012, so maybe 8 years ago. I went through an 6.5-hour boot camp on learning how to do this. My mentor, Matt King, introduced CVI to me, Core Values Index. And the backstory, the Cliff Notes version is there's a 94% repeat rate on this. Lynn Taylor, who created this, he created it where it's a 94% repeat, meaning that if you take it and you don't know anything about CVI and you take it multiple times, you'll have the exact same score, about a 94% accuracy. A lot of the personality assessments that are out there, they might change with circumstance. They might change with like time. But with core values, it's designed to get you to your core to say, regardless of my birth order, regardless of, timing of life or whatever it might be, that it's still to your innate core. And we all have there's so many assessments out there, but this is going to be a great lesson on the Core Values Index and how to incorporate it into your life. So let's go ahead and dig in. First thing, there's 3 asterisks and basic propositions here. And I took some of this from my notes from that 6.5-hour boot camp that I did 8 years ago to prepare for this message. The 3 propositions were that most business problems are not business problems, they're people problems. Number 2 is that self-awareness brings control and actually brings consciousness where you can decide. And number 3 is you got to know your people. You want to know yourself, but you also want to know your people inside and out. And when I say your people, it doesn't necessarily mean your reps. It means your mom, your dad, your sister. Know the people that are closest to you. So CVI, we're going to do a deep dive into these so that way you understand a little bit. I would even have your profile pulled up so that way you can learn a little bit about you. But there are 4 different styles. There's the builder, the merchant, the banker, and the innovator. And at some point in time, we will even do a deep dive in where when you're 2 of them, your top 2, so like a builder innovator is very independent. A banker merchant is very much focused on the more on community. So like there's even a deeper dive on each of these. We're just doing basic surface level. So the builder, the merchant, the banker, and the innovator. Now we have all of these, but some are more dominant than the others. So a builder, you can see the core value is power, supported by faith. A merchant, love, supported by truth. The banker, knowledge, supported by justice. And the innovator, wisdom, supported by compassion. I would take a photo of that if you didn't do so. So I'm going to kind of skip through the slides a little fast just for time's sake, but that's why I encourage you to take the photos and then go ahead and journal and capture them afterwards. So to summarize that, what that means is that the builders got their names because they were like the generals who led the armies. They were like the generals who led the armies. we're going to go win. We have a desire for results. The merchants were the shopkeepers. They were the ones that were staying in the village, spreading the word of any type of danger that was coming the way. The innovators were the strategists. These were the solution finders. These were the ones that were trying to figure out how do we defeat the enemy combatants. And the bankers were conserving all the resources. They were going out to the fire pits at the end of the night to store the firewood, to make sure that they had food and fire for the future days. So each individual we all have all of these inside of us, but some are more dominant and some are more present than others. So if we're aware of it, then we can do something about it. So this right here is where we're gonna dive into these. So again, I would take a photo. We're gonna dive in, but this is a motivation matrix of how each of the styles are motivated, and a behavior matrix of how do they behave. So we're gonna start with the builders first. Okay. So now each of you took an assessment that looks something like this, and if you have that assessment in front of you, whichever one is your dominant, you will have a builder as, you know, if your builder is your dominant. So these are not clear to read. Okay, so great.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit blurry somehow, Mike. I'm not sure if make the box bigger. It looks clear now. Yeah.
All right, let me try to make that box a little bit bigger. Let's see. Does that make a difference?
I think so. You'd probably have to do one that actually is like has words on it, more words. It looks way clearer though than it was before.
All right, let's see.
Go back to the previous slide. Yeah, that's better.
That's better?
Yeah, we couldn't see a thing before.
Cool, good to know. Good to know. Appreciate the feedback there. So, as far as so we're going to do a deep dive onto these. So each of you have them, but if you have if you have your CVI, you know you're a builder dominant. If you're a builder dominant, you know, just out of curiosity, who is a builder dominant? Just out of curiosity, anybody have builder dominant? I know Mason's builder dominant. That's about all I got on my crew. I think maybe there might be one other.
Kayla for sure.
Cool. This is going to be fun. So if you're a builder dominant, or if you know someone who's a builder dominant, this is what you want to know about these people. So a builder, they're very task oriented, very much, let me finish this task. I want to get this task done. I don't want to think about other things. I want to just get this thing done. They are very much, they need to believe that they can succeed. If they don't have faith that they will see success, then they won't do it. If they feel like, if I can't win, I don't want to start. They're very short, very abrupt, typically impatient because they just want to go get started. They don't like a lot of planning. They don't like a lot of talking. They just want to do. They like to be in control as much as possible. You would define a builder as they might even be like self-sacrificing in a sense where it's like, listen, I'll take one for the team. You know, you might see a builder say something like that. It's like I got this. Like, just put me in charge. A builder might just say, come on and follow me, even though they don't know where they're going. They'll be, come on and follow me. I don't even know where we're going, but let's go. You'll hear a builder say, just do it. You know, let's make it happen. You know, they're decide and do. They want to complete things. They want to fix things. They gotta constantly be just doing something. Okay. So these are some great strengths of the builder. The builder it usually makes a great person in charge, like the general of the army, as far as a builder goes. Now, a couple of the drawbacks on the builder is because they're very decide and do, they sometimes could be viewed as almost like destructive or irresponsible to the other styles. So like an innovator, a merchant, or a banker might view a builder as destructive or irresponsible because they're not taking their time to plan. They're not willing to like listen. Now that's not the build. That's just how the builder is wired. They might not be intentionally trying to do that. That's just how they're wired. They want to take action. They're very action-oriented people. So if you are in a relationship with a builder, you want to know that about them. You want to honor them. It's like, I love how you are so action-oriented right now. I love that you want to be in control right now. That's so powerful. The more you could say that to a builder, the more you're building up their confidence. It's so powerful of you. You could say that. Now, if I'm a builder and I'm aware of this, that sometimes I am very much in control. I decide and do. I might put people off because they feel like I'm being destructive. I need to say that the most powerful thing for me to do right now is be patient. The most powerful thing for me to do right now is for me to be a little bit more compassionate, for me to be a little bit more loving, for me to you fill in the blank. So that's sometimes what a builder needs to say. The most powerful thing for me to do right now is to. So that way they could still be in control, but still honor the people around them. So that's just kind of a Cliff Notes version of a builder. A merchant. A merchant. Where are my lovey-dovey's at? Where are my smiley lovey-dovey merchants at? Builders appreciated my short, direct approach to the builder, right? The merchants are like, tell me everything about me, please. Let's talk for the next 2 hours about me, right? So the merchants are naturally attracted to sales because we're in business with people. So merchants love Vector. They love the team. They love the camaraderie. They love the culture. The merchants are very attracted to Vector. Now, builders are attracted to Vector because they love the competition. Builders love the competition. Merchants love the people. Merchants love the people. Builders love the results. Merchants love the camaraderie, the relationships. The beautiful thing about a merchant is they can see the future unlike anyone else. They could see past the clouds. They are visionaries. Merchants are visionaries. Merchants can inspire the masses. They are just, they love inspiring people. They love talking. They love working as a team. You'll hear a merchant say things like, we can do it. Let's hit that goal. You'll hear her merchant say like, they'll typically kind, typically like very just loving and more in flow is typically a merchant. Merchants hate confrontation. A merchant hate confrontation more than anything. Where a builder's like, all right, let's fight. You know, a merchant's like, no, let's just talk about it. Now, so what's I'll tell you, the merchants are the most beautiful souls that you could experience working around. That they're just so they're visionaries. They're lovable. They're talkative. Fantastic when they're in their dominant. Never cross a merchant. If you cross a merchant, they will do everything in their power to make your life miserable. Because here's why. Their conflict is manipulation. So if you cross a merchant, you're toast, because they're going to tell everyone how much of a shithead you are, right? So a builder, if you cross a builder's conflict strategy is they're going to intimidate you. They're going to be like, let's go, bro. Like they're going to try to intimidate you. But a merchant, they're like, no, I'm fine. Like we're good. And then they're going to tell everyone else of how much of a dipshit you are, right? So that a builder's like, let's fight. A merchant's like, we're good. Did you hear what so-and-so did? You didn't hear from me though. Like that's manipulation. That's their conflict. So the conflict, if you're aware of this, if you're a merchant or if you love a merchant, you want to understand that if they're using manipulation, that's not the truth. And it's not the truth. The truth will set you free. And here's what's interesting is merchants never lie to a merchant because they love truth. But when they're in conflict, they will manipulate the truth. So that way, because they're like immature in their sense where they just want to like attack that other person. So they can be a little ruthless in that sense. But if you're mature and you understand that about yourself or about a merchant, then you want to bring them out of conflict. How do you bring them out of conflict? You want to let them talk things out. You got to give them enough space. If you have a merchant in conflict, you must give them time to talk. There's no quick. So if you're a builder talking to a merchant and you have a merchant that's mad at you, get ready. Get ready for a cup of coffee or several cups of coffee. Grab the energy drink. You're going to need to just listen and be patient if you want to have a good relationship with that merchant. So merchants are talkative and builders are like, let's just get this shit over with, right? So if you understand that, you need to keep in mind, the merchant needs to say, the most loving thing for me to do right now is to be short, quick, to the point, to honor that builder. And the builder needs to say to themselves, the most powerful thing for me to do right now is to be loving and patient and listen as much as possible. So those are just to kind of let you a little bit in as far as those styles. So that's a merchant, that's a builder. Let's go into the innovator. Innovators. Where are my innovators at? Any innovator dominant? Innovator dominant. So a couple innovator dominants here. All right. See, innovators, interesting enough, are very attracted to sales because of the independence. So builders like the competition, merchants love the people, innovators love the independence. They love the freedom that goes behind being, being in sales. Innovators love the freedom. They love the opportunity to be creative. They love learning as much as possible. Innovators are problem solvers. Innovators are like very creative. The most creative people you'll ever get a chance to meet is going to be an innovator. Oftentimes, innovators are great artists. They're typically great at like any type of the arts, whether it be dancing or singing or drawing or painting. Innovators are typically very artsy. If they're very dominant innovator, you're not going to typically see them in the spotlight. Not typically, unless they know they're right. If an innovator is confident and they know, they're like, I know the answer, they want it to be known that they know the answer because they love being the one with wisdom. It's come to me, I have the answers. But if they're a little unsure, if they're like, you might see an innovator outside their comfort zone standing in the corner because they're like, they don't want to be in the spotlight unless they know I am like in charge. I got this. I have all the answers. But if they're not in a comfortable setting, they don't want to be in the spotlight. Typically, they're behind the scenes. Oftentimes, they're creating systems. They're solving problems. They're brainstorming ideas. Typically, they'll sit a little bit more quietly. Innovators will find different ways to find the solution. Typically, the innovator mind is so creative that in vector world they bother us because they don't follow the program. Because they're so creative, they think there's a better way of doing it. So a manager's like, read the training manual, and an innovator's like, nah, I'll figure out a better way to do it. So in our vector world, sometimes they don't get off to the fastest start because they're so busy trying to change up the program that they're not seeing immediate results. But when it clicks for them, the innovator will sell more Cutco than any other person, because once it clicks, they will run with that. They'll run with those results and make it that much better once it clicks for them. That's like a John Berghoff, by the way. Didn't get off to an immediate fast start, but once it clicked, the guy sold 70 grand for SE2 push back in the mid 90s. When a homemaker set was the largest set for $650. Imagine selling 70 grand, no ultimate set, no signature set, and the homemaker was $650, right? $700. So the best innovator that Vector has ever seen, to my knowledge. So innovators are, if you ever see an innovator, how you know it's an innovator, not all the time, but typically, is they'll have some sort of unique presence. Like they'll wear something a little bit more unique. They'll do something unique with their hair, or they might have unique tattoos or unique piercings, or they want to like almost like something that shows that they're different. Like, I don't want to be the norm. I don't want to be the status quo. I'm different. I think different. I act different. I am different. I don't want to be the norm. I don't want to fit in. Typically, that would be a dominant innovator might have that. So if you're working with an innovator and you know this about them, you want to honor them by saying, wow, you're super smart. You already probably have this figured out. And if you don't have it figured out, you're probably on top of it. You're probably figuring it out as we speak. An innovator, you want to ask them a lot of questions, lots of questions. Now, an innovator in conflict, well, this is the person that's going to interrogate you. They're going to do everything they can to make you feel like shit. They want to make you look stupid and them look smart. So if you have an innovator who's in conflict, they're going to just use their brain to show how smart they are and how stupid you are. So if you have an innovator in conflict, you don't want to kind of like retaliate with them because they're going to just make you look foolish. That's their goal. How do you handle that? You just sit there and just ask questions. Okay, and just take it and just ask questions. And you can ask them questions and they will get out of it themselves. They will get out of it themselves, but you got to ask questions. You got to always lead with questions with an innovator. They will come up with their own answers. They're very, very intelligent, very smart. So you got the builders, dominant, control, merchants, people, innovators, creativity, and then you have your bankers. Bankers are a rare breed in sales. Do I have any banker dominance? Chloe? A banker dominant? And me, Christina, Rebecca? What? We're taking over. Noah? I'm a banker dominant. We are lost in vector marketing and sales. The reason why is bankers are not risk takers. And most people think sales is considered risky. So they're really not, they're not wired for what we do with vector. But a banker is very much, they're very much based upon knowledge. They love gathering information, conserving resources. You'll hear a banker say things like, not with my money. You'll hear bankers say things like, that might not be that efficient, or we should test that out just to be safe. Bankers are typically more safety oriented. They're more conservative typically. Bankers are your most responsible of the four. They're the most responsible. They want to test things before they'll talk about things. They're very structured. A banker will typically be one of the most best dressed individuals, not all the time, but they're typically going to be wearing a shirt and tie. They want to be dressed nice. They want to make sure that, the worst thing is to be looking, they don't want to look ignorant. A banker does not like to look ignorant at all. They want to be the intelligence. They want to be the source of knowledge. They're a little bit more careful. This is a little bit about the banker. They're typically the more responsible ones. They like things very formal. I'll tell you right now, you want to put a banker on repetitive tasks. A banker could do a repetitive task better than anyone else. They could do a repetitive task. Hey banker, can you type this up for me? A banker can sit there and make 100 phone calls and not even break a sweat. A merchant, you put them to sit down and make 100 phone calls, they want to talk to everyone else and they just want to do anything except make the calls. A builder is just like, let me get this shit over with as fast as possible. An innovator's like, there's got to be a more efficient way. A banker's like, let's just get this done. And then they'll just hammer out those calls and they could do that repetitive task and it's no problem. So that kind of gives you a little bit into each of the styles. Now we are all of them. We are all of them. See, if you look at your diagram, you'll see that you are all of them. However, there are some that are a little bit more dominant than others. You could see some are just a little bit more dominant than others. But we have the ability to be them all. This is why if you have someone that's really clearly dominant and then you have someone that's maybe fairly even, that's why this assessment is really valuable, so that way you can know. So this person with what you just learned, they are dominant in the merchant and the innovator, where it means they're low with the builder and the banker. So let me just kind of open this up for a little bit and let's see how much you've just learned, okay? If you could either raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. If you see this person right here with a dominant innovator and a dominant merchant and a very low builder and a very low banker, how do you think that you're going to be able to inspire or motivate that person? What do you think? Go ahead.
Vision, teamwork, culture.
Vision, teamwork, and culture. Vision, teamwork, culture. If they have this much dominant, how would I make sure that if I wanted to show them I know nothing about you, right? What would be the opposite? So how would I if they are very low and very low builder and very low banker, how do I get out of rapport with that person? How do I get out of rapport? If I start trying to do what with them?
Control them.
Yeah. Okay. If I try to control them, what else?
Be really short, not let them talk.
Ooh, they will hate you. They will hate you. If you don't give them a chance to talk, they're not going to like you. What else? What else? How do I get out of rapport with this person? If this is that person, how do we get out of rapport with them?
Make them try new things.
Yeah. Force them into Well, force them into new things. If they have an innovator dominance, they're an innovator dominant here. They might like change. These people are actually, they like change. They like variety. They like, if this is dominant, they like variety because they love meeting new people and they love the creativity. So they're actually attracted to variety. If they have those two as a dominant like that.
Sit down, make 100 calls, and you can only say these words, period. Do nothing else.
Do nothing else except read this script. Don't talk to anyone. Oh my God, they will hate you. You're out of rapport. No, you're out of rapport with that person. So if that person, by the way, this person, anybody curious on whose chart this is right here? Here's what I will say. I'll tell you who this chart is in just a moment. But this right here, this person could literally change the world because they have the creative mind and the care for people. A creative mind and a care for people, they can problem solve and help change the world. This is a great thing. What is a challenge of this person though?
They're too emotional. They don't look at logical things. Maybe like they don't look at numbers and stuff.
Yeah, they're not good with numbers. They look things they're not very logical. Not initially, right? So sometimes they react on emotion, not on logic. I agree with that. So what can tend to happen? They might not be very what?
Focused.
Might not be able to stay focused. They might take on like multiple tasks and not complete those tasks.
I think they lack action because they could either be talking or thinking too much.
Yeah, they might overthink a little bit too much.
Well, I think they also could have maybe a hard time like being efficient with their money or like with finance because
They
they're
just
very mission driven.
Yeah, they might spend a little bit too much. This is good. This is really good. So I won't, because we just talked about the person. I don't want to spotlight who it is. So it's all right. But let's go to this. So that's that. But if you have someone that's a little bit more even, see how this one's more even? You might say this person's great because they could just be a chameleon. They could adapt. They're a little bit more dominant merchant here, but they could adapt very easily. So they could shift to a builder, and then they could shift to a banker. They could shift to an innovator. They could shift to the merchant. They're more dominant merchant, but they could shift very easily. That makes them great. They're adaptable, which is awesome. So awesome because it could shift very easily. Who can think of a potential challenge if someone can shift in between their styles so regularly and so rapidly? What's a potential challenge there?
Staying consistent and doing the same thing for extended periods.
So they might not be able to stay consistent. Well, what is that? What is a potential challenge in a relationship if someone is consistently changing day to day?
Get bored really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Finding balance between like using your brain and your heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think you said like giving them like something to do where it goes to all four of them. So if you start like with a process and they have to start by gathering the info in like the banker aspect and then giving the info to themselves to innovate with and then putting it to like the merchant talking with other people about it and then like ending it with the action.
There's confusion.
So Lindsay said the word confusion. What do you mean by that word confusion?
Like in a relationship, if someone's like always changing or like something pleases them one day and not the other, it can be really hard to like work with them.
And if someone is confused in a relationship, they're like almost like a split personality type of thing. It's like you're one way this day and then you're another way this day, and I don't even know who I'm dating anymore. If there's confusion in that relationship because of their style, now that person is innocent. They're completely innocent. They don't even know. It's like, I didn't even know I'm confused. I didn't even know this about me. So if they don't know this about me, they're just shifting because that's all they know. But if you're dating a person like this, or if you're doing business with a person like this, could you trust someone? Probably not. You might not be able to trust this person. This person who has that, these people, by the way, if you're this person, they have a very tough time with intimate relationships. They have a tough time with very, very intimate friendships because they have tough time getting close to different people. People have tough time getting close to them because they're constantly shifting. So why is that important? Why is it important? Because if you're aware, then you could interrupt the pattern. If you're aware, then you could say, wow, that's how it's naturally done with me, but I don't have to be that way. I'm wired to do that, but I don't have to be that way. Mike Abramowitz is wired, dominant banker, 24 banker, which is very high, like that dominant banker. My builder is very, very small. If you look at my diagram, very small builder. So it is hard. It used to be very hard, and it still is, to just get to work. Because I'm like creating and building, like thinking a lot. I'm very much in the thinking space. My merchant is very small. So my diagram, if you look at it, it's like this, but with a banker and the innovator as a high. Mine is very close to something like this one up here. Mine is very close to this, where my banker, my innovator are larger, and my builder, my merchant are very small. My builder is even smaller than my merchant. However, because I'm aware of this, I am intentional. I'm intentional with relationships. I'm intentional with getting better at talking with people, getting better with listening, getting better with action. And when you can be aware of it, you can do something about it. And that's the beautiful part about CVI. Here's what you don't want to use CVI for, and then I'll pivot into how you do this with Vector, and then I'll wrap up. So here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to say, well, I'm a merchant, so that's just how I am. And you don't want to use it as a language where it's like, oh my gosh, you're such a builder right now. This is not used in a way to label. It's not used in a way to be an excuse. It's used as a tool to become aware of how people operate so you can honor them in the best way possible to lead them, but also be aware of yourself so you can grow and adapt and change and evolve. If you ever catch yourself saying, you're being such a builder right now, that is a very terrible thing, because a builder is a description to say this person's in control and dominant. But if you're labeling that person as something that's negative, that is not true to their core. If they are being dominant or being in control right now, then you want to label that and say, okay, in your mind, this is a builder who's trying to be in control. How can I honor them? If I'm a banker, how can I honor them? If I'm an innovator, how can I honor them? If I'm a merchant, how can I honor them? If I'm another builder, how can I honor them? That's the 2.0 version of this conversation. And if you like this, make sure you tell Andrew so that way we can talk more about it. But I got to pivot. How do you incorporate this into coaching? So if you're coaching in vector marketing as a sales rep or as a sales manager, the basics of coaching is helping a representative feel good, make sure they have people to call and they have a plan. That's the basics of coaching. If you can help someone feel good, you help them have people to call, and you help them have a plan, then you can help them have success working with us. But using CVI, you can use CVI to inspire them into action when you know their style. Now, you don't necessarily need to have them take the assessment to know their style. You could just kind of gather it based upon their mannerisms now that you understand the four different styles. So if they're hard to read, they're probably a square. But if they're easy to read, then you at least can use your best judgment. But here's the deal. If you want them to feel good, well, appreciation, encouragement, skill development. If you know that they're a banker and you want them to feel good, if you know they're an innovator, how do you help them feel good? Builder, merchant, how do you help them feel good? How do you inspire them to go look up phone numbers? How do you help them create a plan? How do you do this using CVI? So there's a document that's in the folder that Andrew put together, that Andrew sent out to you. And this was given to us years and years ago. And there's different styles. I'm not going to dig into this 100 full percent, but I want to at least create a foundation for you. So it says, because you have the document, it says if you're starting a call, you want to honor their values for the different types of people. So if you're starting a call with a builder, don't chit chat too much. Don't sugarcoat. Be as real as possible. Snapshot and have all of their good results ready to share. So you just want to get to the point. Hey, you're powerful. You're dominant. You're great based upon these results that I have in front of me. Look how good you are. That's what you want to talk. That's how you get in rapport with your builder. With your merchant, never criticize. You never want to criticize them. They don't take it very well. So you want to let them talk about it. You want to ask them like, hey, so how's life? Tell me, how do you feel right now? Like, how are you feeling right now? Hey, I just want to let you know you're a valuable member of this team. Share good things about them. What do you like about them? Think about the endless possibilities. Now, I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. We're not talking about using CVI as a tool to manipulate them. We are using CVI as a tool to influence them. There's two different things. What's the difference between manipulation and influence? Does anybody know the difference between manipulation and influence? What's the difference? One word. It's only one word. If you're thinking of more than one word, you're thinking too much. One word. What's the difference between manipulation and influence?
Motive.
Who said it? Who said intent?
It was me.
I said motive, but same thing.
Intent. The intent. That's the only thing that's different. The difference between motivation and influence is intent. If manipulation is to use these tools for my own gain, it's manipulation. If I'm using these tools to help you, it's influence. What is my intent? That's it. Or motive. What is my motive? What is my intention? So I want to make this crystal clear for all of you. These are like Jedi mind tricks. This shit works. It works. You can get what you want by using this, and you can manipulate people, and you can kind of get into their mind once you know how they work and how they operate, and you get all the shit you want. But that's manipulation. Here at Vector, as Vector leaders, we want to influence people to help them get what they want. And when you want to use these tools to help them get what they want, to inspire them and drive them. So back to here, an innovator, you must value their ideas. You must value their ideas. If you even just noticed, Logan chimed in. I got a lead to believe Logan is innovator because he wanted to share his wisdom, right? So what am I going to do? I'm not going to say, Logan, you're wrong. That wasn't the word I was looking for. I said intent was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Audrey. Or motive, as Logan said. Now, Logan feels honored because it's like, yeah, he mentioned me. Even though it wasn't the word I was looking for, I'm still not going to make him feel dumb for not saying the word I was looking for. So just a low catch there, low catch. You always want to value their ideas. Hey, I just appreciate all the advice and all the wisdom that you're bringing to the organization right now. Asking them questions. Tell me, what do you think about blank? How do you think we can make that better? That's a great question. You ask an innovator, hey, I was just curious. I'd love your opinion on blank. You start a conversation with an innovator, you'll get an instant report. I'd love to get your opinion on blank. That's a great question to lead into a conversation. Banker, I bet you already know your numbers. I bet you already know how close you are to your next promotion, right? Our team, your goal of blank is a critical part of helping us achieve our goals. If you could just hit your goal, it's going to help everyone else hit their goals. So banker, by the way, bankers are the easiest. Bankers are the easiest people for you to work with because they're most of the time bankers are getting their stuff done because they're the responsible of the four. They're just most likely getting it done. Now, the challenge with the banker, I didn't go through this. The challenge with the banker is if they ever feel like something is unjust, they shut down. They go aloof. They shut down. They'll withhold all their information, and they're just going to watch from the sidelines and say, you all figure it out. You're about to mess it up. This is an unjust situation. I don't want any part of it. That's what you'll see a banker do. They'll just like, I surrender. I don't want any part of it. And they'll just sit on the sidelines and watch you flounder around and watch you mess shit up. That's their conflict strategy. So the builder will intimidate. The innovator will interrogate. The merchant will manipulate. And then the banker will just go aloof. They'll just say, I surrender, hands up. I'm taking myself out of this conversation. I'll watch from the sidelines, watch you mess things up. So, but that's how you could start the combo. How do you get results from different types? So this is in the document. You have the document. So if you see the different styles, again, builder, don't tell them what to do. Make them feel like they know what to do. They want to feel in control. Hey, I was thinking about what would make you even more powerful in the office. Your results are solid. I feel like you're doing great right now. Have you ever thought about doing blank, right? So you honor them a little bit. Talk about results. Make it into a competition. Builders dominant want to compete. They want to be the best. They want to be number one. Merchant, how do you get them into results? It's going to help the team. Hey, if you can help the team, if you can help the team win, can you help us build our team? Innovator, never push on them. They must come to their own solutions. Hey, what do you find is working for you? How do you feel, what's the best strategy that's helping you get your appointments? How many appointments do you want? How do you get there? How do you make that happen? Lots of questions. And believe it or not, innovators, when I was a newer manager, they were the biggest pain in the ass because they wouldn't listen to me. But then when I realized they need to listen to themselves, it made my life so easy. I just asked them a bunch of questions. They figure it out. It's actually the easiest style to work with if you just know what questions to ask them. And the banker, it's just acknowledging like, hey, I'm sure you're already on top of it. Hey, I'm sure you're on top of it. If there was something I can teach you, would you want to learn? Yeah, okay. Bankers are always willing to learn. Innovators can learn so much. You give an innovator the YouTube playlist, they'll watch every video on there. They'll watch the videos, they'll take notes on those videos, and then they'll teach those videos. Those are great people. Great sales reps. Ending conversations. Bankers, be very clear. Innovator, answer all their questions. Merchant, go slow. Make sure they feel connected. Builder, promote the next event. Lead by example. And then as far as making sure this is if they went ghost. This is like if the representative went ghost, on how you can reel them back in. How do you connect with them and reel them back in? Builder, straightforward. Don't intimidate them, but just make sure you're pretty upfront and pretty straightforward. Merchant, make sure they feel valued and they feel that you want to work with them and they're an important member of our team. Innovator, again, you want to value their ideas, their creativity. You want to ask for permission to offer how you truly feel. Bankers, give detailed proof. They need proof that they're actually messing up because they never mess up, but you got to give them proof that they are. So in closing, every one of us have these different styles. Every one of us have these different styles. We're capable of being all of them, but some of us are more dominant in one category versus the other. So my action steps for you leaving this message right now is have people that are closest to you take the assessment so that way you can at least know what people's styles are, what their dominants are. Number 2 action step is learn more about you. Learn more about you. Know what your habits and your dominants are and know what your blind spots are and catch yourself and just know a little bit more about you. And also my last action step is especially if you're coaching and leading people, is to make sure that you honor them. Find people that are completely opposite of you. Surround yourself around them. Learn how they behave. Look at my staff. Mason, builder. Jessica, Cassidy, merchants. Lindsay, innovator. Amanda, innovator. right? I mean, you surround yourself around people that are different than you. Be curious on how they see the world different than you. Honor that diversity. Love that diversity. Celebrate that diversity. Honor it. And help you become better and help the people around you become better. So I don't know if I have time for Q&A, Andrew.
You can do a question or two.
Cool. So if we have a question or two, let's take a look in the chat box. I haven't looked at that. Logan said I watch those videos. Nice. So the TLA handout's good. You got that. Cool. Excellent. So who has something that they'd like to maybe we have time for one or two questions.
Yeah, Gabriel, got his hand up.
Yeah. So let's say you're like your profile is very balanced. How do you choose like which area to focus on to grow?
So if you're like that square, the thing that you have to understand is the squares will typically still have a dominant. They'll still have a dominant that they go to, but the biggest thing that they want to be aware of is that self-awareness of where am I at right now? Like what am I, how do I feel in this moment right now? So the more they could be where their feet are, like how am I in this moment right now? Do I want to be in control? Do I want to be in the back? Do I want to learn or do I want to talk? Like, where am I at this moment right now? That would be my biggest piece of advice, is making sure that the self-awareness is there. Cool. Anyone else?
Awesome.
Light bulbs to the chat, please. I'd like to know what showed up for you guys.
Yeah, please post your light bulbs. Mike, that was awesome. Thank you so much for giving us the goods on that. Hopefully you guys took a lot of value away from that. And CVI is something that really we're just covering like very surface level at like the lowest level. We could literally do a talk on CVI every single TLA prep that we have. I don't know if we will do that, but hopefully you got some value from that. And again, I think the action steps, like Mike said, is like, hey, start to have other people take the test, so you can start to like, number one, not only like honor them and like understand them better, you'll also start to get better ideas. Like once when you start to like, oh, my mom's blank, my sister's blank, people that are closer to you, you'll understand CVI better when you start understanding like, oh, okay, obviously my mom's an innovator blank, obviously so-and-so is this, because you'll start to see like the natural tendencies pop up, and it will probably make a little bit more sense too and resonate while you guys are coaching. So thank you again, Mike. I'm going to stop the recording